You're home alone. Out of the corner of your eye, you catch a flicker of movement, a shadowy figure down the hall. Your heart starts hammering. The classic explanation? A ghost, some echo of the dead, stuck in the place it died. But what if the real answer is something far stranger? What if that figure wasn't a spirit at all, but a living, breathing person from a parallel universe, and you just saw a brief, terrifying bleed between their world and ours? Think about your typical ghost stories. That lonely road where a phantom hitchhiker appears on foggy nights, a historic battlefield where the clash of swords still seems to echo, or the classic haunted house where a lady in white walks the same tragic path night after night. These are often called residual hauntings, an imprint of energy like a recording stuck on a loop. For centuries, we've tried to explain these spooky encounters through spirits and the afterlife. We see them as echoes of the dead trapped between worlds. But that idea leaves a lot of questions. Why are they here? Why do they have clothes on? And why do they just repeat the same actions, totally unaware of us? The usual answers feel incomplete. But if we trade the supernatural for the scientific, a different, even more mind-bending possibility pops up. What if we're not looking at the dead, but at the living? To even begin to unpack this, we have to take a detour into the seriously weird world of quantum physics. For decades, some of the world's most brilliant minds have grappled with a concept called the multiverse, or the many worlds theory. First proposed by physicist Hugh Everett III in the 1950s, this idea suggests our universe isn't the only one. Instead, there could be a nearly infinite number of parallel universes, all existing at the same time, layered just out of sight. Think of it like a cosmic choose-your-own-adventure. Every time a quantum event has more than one outcome, the universe might split, creating separate parallel timelines. In one universe, you took that job. In another, you didn't. There could be countless versions of you living totally different lives. Now, here's where we take a huge leap into pure speculation. What if the walls between these universes aren't completely solid? Physicists like Dr. Michio Kaku have popularized the idea that parallel worlds might be incredibly close to our own. Taking that idea into the realm of fiction, what if tiny energy shifts could thin the barrier between realities, allowing for a temporary overlap? It's in these fleeting moments that the paranormal might just be born. That ghost you see isn't a spirit. It's a glimpse of a living person in a world right next to yours, but forever out of reach. If you run with this purely hypothetical framework, a lot of classic paranormal claims get a spooky new makeover. Let's go back to that shadow in your hallway. In this theory, it's not a demon. It could just be the shadow of someone walking down their hallway in their universe. For a split second, the two realities align, and their shadow is cast into your world. They have no idea you're there, just like you're usually unaware of them. And those residual hauntings, the lady in white walking her nightly path, this isn't a spirit trapped in a loop, but maybe a time loop from another universe bleeding into ours. You're just witnessing a living person from a parallel timeline going about their routine. To them, the wall you see might not exist in their reality, which is why they appear to walk right through it. What about poltergeist activity? A book flying off a shelf or a door slamming. Instead of an angry spirit, imagine two universes briefly overlapping. The gravitational forces and atoms of their reality could momentarily and chaotically interact with ours, causing a burst of kinetic energy that sends an object flying. It's important to note that poltergeist activity is not associated with residual hauntings, as these are seen as non-interactive energy imprints. And finally, those faint, disembodied whispers, often captured as electronic voice phenomena, EVP. Maybe they aren't messages from the grave. They could be auditory bleed-throughs, stray bits of a conversation from another dimension, like a cosmic crossed wire. Okay, before we get carried away, let's be crystal clear. This is all highly speculative. There is currently no scientific evidence that ghosts are interdimensional tourists. In fact, mainstream physics throws up some serious roadblocks to the idea. For one, there's the inverse square law, which describes how light gets dimmer over distance. If a ghost were light or matter from another dimension bleeding into ours, the way light behaves would likely be different from what we observe. So far, all evidence points to our universe having 3 spatial dimensions we can interact with. On top of that, many paranormal experiences have been convincingly explained by other phenomena. Infrasound, sound frequencies too low for humans to hear, can cause feelings of dread, anxiety, and even visual hallucinations like seeing dark shapes in your peripheral vision. High-strength electromagnetic fields have been shown to stimulate the brain's temporal lobes, which can create the sensation of an unseen presence. And let's not forget powerful psychological factors like the power of suggestion, pareidolia, our brain's knack for seeing faces in random patterns, and sleep paralysis, which can account for a huge number of ghost sightings. So while the multiverse is a legitimate topic of debate in theoretical physics, connecting it to ghosts is, for now, purely imaginative fun. And yet, the idea sticks around because it doesn't just offer a fun explanation for ghosts. It touches on those smaller, deeply personal glitches in the matrix. Many of us feel we've ever had déjà vu, that bizarre, overwhelming feeling that you've lived a moment before. The scientific explanation points to a momentary hiccup in your brain's memory processing. But in our what-if scenario, could it be your consciousness briefly aligning with a parallel you who has lived it before? Then there's the Mandela effect, where large groups of people share the same false memory of a pop culture detail or historical event. Psychologists understand this as a fascinating example of collective false memory. Could it also be, in the realm of fiction, a sign of a bleed from a universe where history played out just a little differently? Even that unshakable feeling of being watched when you're alone could be reframed. It might not be a spirit. It could be the faint, subconscious input of another person in the exact same space, separated only by a dimensional wall so thin you can almost feel they're there. Your reality might be haunted, not by the dead, but by the infinite possibilities of the living. This theory, while purely speculative, changes the game. It suggests that every strange noise and fleeting shadow might not be a remnant of the past, but a real-time echo from a world running parallel to ours. It implies that we are simultaneously alone and infinitely crowded. So, what do you think? Is this a more compelling idea than traditional ghost stories? Or is it just a fun branch of science fiction? Let us know your own stories and theories in the comments below. In the end, there is zero scientific proof that ghosts are visitors from a parallel universe. It remains a tantalizing what if, a thought experiment that mixes theoretical physics with our deepest paranormal curiosities. But it's an idea that refuses to fade because it speaks to our sense of wonder. It replaces the fear of the dead with the awe-inspiring and maybe more terrifying idea that our reality is just one page in an infinite book. So the next time you see a flicker in your peripheral vision, just for a second, consider this. You might not be looking at a ghost. You might just be getting an impossible glimpse of your neighbor in a universe right next door.